Plaintiff Kimberly Boston says the defendant has been married to her son for 3 years, and they have one child and another on the way. Kimberly claims the defendant has left the marital home a couple of times, and Kimberly's son suspects it's because she's cheating. Kimberly's suing her daughter-in-law for 2 unpaid loans. Defendant Abigail Wiggins says her husband is a 34-year-old mama's boy who still has Kimberly make his doctor's appointments for him. Abigail claims Kimberly is constantly interfering in her marriage, and she insists she has never cheated on her husband.
Start with you.
Well, Your Honor, Abigail is my daughter-in-law. She's been married to my son for about 3 years. They have one 3-year-old child and another one on the way. She's about 5 months pregnant. I do have some concerns. She's left the marital home a couple of times. My son kind of thinks it might have something to do with other men.
So he put her out instead of him leaving?
She left.
I know, but he could have said, well, baby, you come on back. I'll leave. But he said, get going then. I don't care. Go where you can go. You want a couple dollars for the hotel?
Defendant Abigail Wiggins is married to the plaintiff's son, and she claims he's a 34-year-old mama's boy.
She would take the child with her?
I usually babysat during the day for the child, and overnights sometimes. She was working
When
at
she
the
left,
time.
when she would leave the house, where would the baby spend overnights?
Usually with me, and a couple nights a week she would take her back when she wasn't working.
Okay, let me hear from you.
Well, first off, my husband is a big mama's boy. He's always been, confided in his mother, even down to still today. He's almost 35 years old, and his mother still makes his doctor's appointment. He can't do that for himself. And
Is that true?
Guilty.
well, there's also, it has to do with her butting into our relationship as well. It's not just.
Do you run off?
Not lately.
Not often?
I've been back.
About how often do you run off?
Well, I'm a full-time student, Your Honor.
No, I'm talking about with other men.
I don't. That's not true.
Okay, you don't leave the household
No.
for days at a time?
Only to go to school.
And you don't go to school overnight?
No, I do not.
Not in
No,
not
sir.
a dormitory or
No.
anything,
No.
She's making this up.
Yes, that's.
Where do you
false.
think she got it?
My husband.
Because that makes you look pretty bad, and that's why I'm trying to
Yes,
address
I
that. I
understand.
know that has nothing to do with the lawsuit, but I know folks will shake their head at that. Take her baby at the hotel, and they're shaking their head at your son. Got his mama making his calls to the doctor, bringing him food, and she out in the street struggling with that baby. So that's not true.
That is not true.
Good. All right. Why are you suing?
Well, I got a sum of money last July of 2015,
Mm-hmm.
and I told everybody from the get-go that I wasn't going to give any loans on this money, but a few days after I got it, Abby came to me, said she needed a new engine for the car, and could I please loan her the money for it?
It was never a loan.
Let her finish.
And she would pay me back with her paychecks. She was working at the time.
Mm-hmm. And living with your son.
Yes.
Okay.
And a couple days after that, she needed another part for the car, a wiring harness for the car. So the second loan came a couple days after the engine. And I
What was the total amount?
$3,310.
And when was she to begin repaying?
I told her I wanted to see at least $100 every 2 weeks when they got paid, and this was just between her and I. And
Why?
Why? Because she
Yes.
came and asked me for it.
Did you ever mention it to your son?
Oh yeah.
What does he say?
He doesn't say much about it.
When you mention it, he just...
He was glad to have the engine.
No, but don't you mention getting your money back?
Oh yeah,
And
I
what
do.
does he say to that, ma'am?
Okay.
And then when you ask her, what does she say?
She said, I didn't think I had to pay you back.
Okay. And you tell her what?
I said, absolutely. I would have never given you the money if if I didn't expect to be paid back, and I expected at least $100.
How many times have you asked your son, if you can estimate?
Oh, I've been asking them for a year, at least 2, 3, 4 times a month.
You asked your son 2 or 3, 4 times a month.
Both of them.
And each time, no, we're talking about your son right now.
Just my son? Yes.
Yeah, and each time he's just said to you, okay.
He says he doesn't have any money right now. There's always been an excuse for why.
And she says the same thing?
Yes.
Has he ever agreed that he would pay you when he gets it?
That he would pay me?
Yes, ma'am. They have a household together. They have joint assets.
He has said he'd try to give me some money for it, but
Right.
it hasn't come through.
Defendant Abigail Wiggins is married to the plaintiff's son, and she claims he's a 34-year-old mama's boy.
So why aren't you suing him as well? He's agreed to repay from household funds. These are household monies. You still live there, right?
Yes.
And you still share your income, right?
Yes.
Yeah, these are household monies.
Because
any money that she gives up is your son giving it up. Any money that your son gives up is her giving it up. Any money that your son refuses to give up, she's refusing. Any money that she refuses, your son is refusing you. Why don't you sue him too?
Because she's the one that came and asked me for the
Okay,
money.
now that I've told you that it's a joint debt, are you willing to sue him?
If I had to, I would.
All right, we're going to adjourn this case and she's going to sue her son. Have a good day.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
State your name.
Kimberly Boston.
Sir?
Aaron White.
Ma'am?
Abigail Wiggins.
All right. And Ms. Boston, you were here, and defendant Abigail Wiggins, you were here, and we adjourned the case to add your son, Mr. White, as a defendant because part of your testimony implicated him. So he's here today, and I'll let you resume with your testimony, perhaps refresh us on what the case is about and some of the background once again.
July of 2015, my daughter-in-law, Abby, came to me and asked me for a loan for engine for their car. I did go ahead and give her my bank card to use, letting her know that it was a loan and that I expected to be paid back and how I expected to be paid back. And I asked her repeatedly to start paying it back, and she kind of blew it off. And then 2016, I started asking my son also to pay it back. And neither one of them has paid a cent to this day.
I'm just curious, why didn't you include your son in the beginning of this process?
Because Abby was...
Because they're married.
Right, right. I didn't realize I had made the deal with...
You didn't realize they were married?
No, I didn't realize that. I should have, because I had made the deal with Abby, and she's the one that came and asked me for the loan.
And you asked your son what month? I know you loaned her the money in July. When did you ask your son about it, since she wasn't paying?
I assumed she was asking my son, but it was after Christmas, so probably
Okay,
January.
so about 6 months later is the first time you mentioned it
when
to
I
him.
When I wasn't getting any money from her, I had to, yeah.
All right, go ahead. Let me hear from you all. Whoever wants to speak first. Tell me about the loan, whether you had knowledge and anything.
I figured it was a gift, basically.
Okay, I know you do, but I need you to explain why you feel it's a gift. Otherwise, you haven't convinced me.
She gives me a lot of things. I mean, I've borrowed money from her before. I haven't paid her back. And
when did you first learn of the money being transferred?
Abby told me that we're going to be able to get the engine. And
what's that?
Abby told me that we're going to be able to get the engine for the car, the parts for the car that we need. So I figured.
What did she tell you? She said, I went to your mother and I asked your mother for some money, and your mother said she'd give us some money. What happened, sir? No wonder you sued her. He can't even speak. Let me hear you speak for him. Tell me what happened.
I did go to his mother for, I asked her, that we were having engine problems, and she did agree to give me the money, but I never agreed to pay anything.
Did you share it with your husband? And if
Yes,
so, when?
I did. It was right after I told him that we were going to be able to fix his car and get
Did
the
you
engine.
ask before telling him you were going to ask?
No, I told him after the fact. I did not let him know that I was going to
Why?
ask him for the money. Because I took it upon myself. I thought it was, since I'm married to him, I didn't see any harm in it.
Your Honor, he would have had to know about it because he had to order the engine. She didn't know how to order the engine, and I got...
Well, if you take it to the shop will tell you what you need.
He
and they'll
put
order.
the engine in. He didn't go to a shop. He put it in himself. It got delivered to the
Ma'am,
house.
how did you know what type of engine to get?
I didn't. He ordered it. When she had given me the money, when we had the
How
money...
did you know how much it would cost?
I guess because we discussed it.
Oh, so you did discuss it. All right. You got any lies you want to tell?
No, sir. No, Your Honor.
All right. Judgment for the plaintiff. Good luck to you.
Thank you.